Hi everyone, it's Jasmine. On today's episode of the Slame Project, I will be talking about the case of Rosenda Strong. She was reported missing in October 2018 and was found in July 2019 stuffed in the freezer on the Yakama Indian Reservation. The person who did this to her has never been caught. If you would like to hear more videos on missing and murdered Indigenous people, please consider subscribing to my channel. Let's get right into it. Rosenda Strong was born on April 16, 1987, to Estelle Louise Strong and Miguel Moran. She was raised in Wapato, Washington on the Yakama Indian Nation. Rosenda is Umatilla and Yakama and is enrolled as Umatilla. Rosenda is the youngest of 3 siblings. She has a sister named Sissy and a brother named Chris. They were raised in an alcoholic household and learned to stick together from a very young age. Rosenda was very close to her siblings, and Sissy often refers to Rosenda as her best friend. Rosenda was also the mother of 4 children, 2 daughters who were aged 17 and 12, and 2 sons who were aged 13 and 10 when she went missing. Rosenda was a very loving mother to her children and would do anything for them. She no longer had custody of her children, but would often visit and spend time with them. Rosenda is described as caring, loving, and selfless. She always made sure everyone she loved was okay around her before thinking of herself. She took pride in loving her family and friends. A lot of people still remember her laugh and the way she could light up a room. Rosenda struggled with life a bit and became addicted to drugs. When she was 24, she got into trouble with the law. Her and a group of friends lured a man from Legends Casino to rob him. She more than likely did a little jail time for this. She eventually violated probation, and the cops put out a press release asking for info on her whereabouts on October 9, 2015. In the press release, they described her as a high violent gang member. I am unsure how true this claim is, and it does not matter if she was or not. She was eventually located and arrested on May 5, 2016. Sometime after being released from jail, she ended up staying with her sister Sissy in Wapato, Washington, on the Yakama Indian Nation. The Yakama Nation has a long and violent history with missing and murdered Indigenous people. Like most other tribes, the Yakama Nation struggles with alcoholism, domestic violence, drug abuse, crime, gang activity, and unemployment. In fact, to combat these issues, alcohol is banned on most parts of the reservation, including their casino. Sissy has compared living here to the wild, wild west because of all the violence surrounding the missing and murdered. In July 2018, Rosenda's close friend Frankie died, and she was heartbroken. She left her sister Sissy's place for a little bit after Frankie's death. When she came back, Rosenda had a car. Rosenda never really explained how she got the car, but she was very happy to have this car and to be independent again. About a month later, she would go missing. Even though Rosenda was addicted to drugs and had troubles with the law, she did not deserve what was about to happen to her. She might have made some bad choices, but everybody does at times. We all have to live and learn from our own mistakes. But Rosenda would never get the chance to learn from her final choices. She was taken from her family, taken from this world, never having the opportunity to grow old and reflect on life. On Sunday, September 30th, 2018, Rosenda was at her sister Sissy's house. She made plans to hang out with some friends and go to the Legends Casino in Toppenish. Sissy gave her sister some money and let her borrow a sweater. The friend came by and picked her up. They were driving an older Nissan car. According to the Yakama Herald-Republic, Rosenda was last seen on surveillance footage leaving the casino with a friend. Now, on this same day, September 30th, sometime after Rosenda was last seen at the casino, her friends text Sissy and told her that Rosenda was injured. Sissy had just bought Rosenda a cell phone about 3 weeks prior. She tried calling and texted Rosenda but never received a response. I do not think the extent of the injuries were specified, but it did seem that some people did witness whatever happened to her. Sissy tried not to worry herself too much and just thought maybe the people who text her were just pulling a prank. She told herself that Rosenda must be with her children. She tried getting a hold of her niece and could not reach her either. She thought that maybe Rosenda and her daughter were together, perhaps without cell service. The next day, on Monday, October 1st, 2018, Rosenda's daughter got a hold of Sissy and was worried that she couldn't get a hold of her mom. At this point, both of them knew something was terribly wrong. Rosenda would never worry her family like this. They went about trying to locate Rosenda wherever they could think of. The next day, on Tuesday, October 2nd, 2018, Sissy had no luck finding her sister, so she went down to the tribal police station to report Rosenda as missing. Unfortunately, she did not get the response she was expecting. They did not share the same concerns as Sissy because they said that Rosenda was a drug user with a record and had warrants. They just assumed she was out partying and getting high. The Yakama Tribal Police did eventually take the report, but they did not even ask the family basic questions like what Rosenda was wearing or who she was last known to be with. They told Rosenda's brother Chris that they would call and keep in touch, but never did. They also did not permit the family to conduct searches because they said that it might contaminate any evidence. This is totally understandable, but Rosenda's family said that they never seen law enforcement conduct any searches either. Perhaps if they did, her body would have been located sooner. I should note that it was reported that investigators did go to a house where Rosenda was reportedly last seen and questioned some people. And Chris said that they flew some helicopters to survey from above. But proper searches need to be done on the ground and in a grid format. Days turn into weeks and weeks turn into months. In the meantime, Sissy and Chris were gathering their strength. They were not going to let Rosenda go quietly into the night. They began to organize marches, vigils, and prayer walks to bring awareness to Rosenda as a missing person and to other missing and murdered Indigenous women, also known as MMIW. Sissy and her brother Chris got major support and guidance from their cousin Roxanne White. Roxanne is the founder of Missing and Murdered Indigenous People and Families, and she is based out of the Seattle area. Collectively, they spearheaded the events they organized. They kept Rosenda's face visible with flyers, banners, and posters. After a little while, Sissy kind of knew that Rosenda was gone. She said that after October 4th, she could not feel her sister's energy anymore, which is really interesting to me. A lot of tribes believe that the human spirit will stick around for 3 days after death before making its journey to the spirit world. Rosenda was still missing. Sissy and her family continued their relentless mission for answers. They would lead marches down the street and scream Rosenda's name. They did not want the people who harmed Rosenda to think they were going away. Sissy knows who the person was that picked her up that night to leave to the casino. In fact, Sissy thinks that she knew who harmed her sister the first week she was out looking for her. In the time before Rosenda was found, rumors started to fly. The word was that Rosenda was shot and killed, then put into a freezer somewhere. At about 4:20 p.m. on July 4th, 2019, two homeless men were in a field at milepost 64 on Highway 97 between Toppenish and Wapato. This was an illegal dump site that locals used to dispose of unwanted trash and household products. The homeless men were probably just out looking for cans to recycle. Anyways, they came upon a junked freezer. One of them opened it and discovered Rosenda's body. By this time, she was more than likely almost skeletonized. She had been missing for 275 days. She was positively identified on July 12, 2019 by using dental records. The area the freezer was in was within a field and behind some trees. I do not think it was visible from Highway 97. Sissy said she drives this road every day. So while Rosenda was missing, she drove by her daily. And now when she drives by, she is constantly reminded of her sister. If there was any biological evidence for rape, it was long gone by the time she was found. Nothing has ever been publicly released about the crime scene. But I refuse to believe that this was the perfect crime. There is no such thing. Every murder has something to it that will link the killer to the victim. But we do not know Rosenda's state of condition when she was found. Did she have her clothes on? Were there bullet holes in the clothing? Did she have her cell phone with her? Did they ping her cell phone after she was first reported missing? Were there any broken bones? Did she have shoes on? Did she have her ID or any other belongings with her? If authorities cannot obtain rights to search any vehicles belonging to persons of interest, I think their next best bet would be to try to test for touch DNA on Rosenda's clothing. But this is if she was found with her clothing. Othram Labs has been making great strides in DNA collection. If they can't do it, no one can. I am hopeful that touch DNA can be recovered from Rosenda's belongings. During my research, I could not find that Rosenda's autopsy report was ever released. Her body was taken to an FBI lab where they tried to harvest any evidence. The FBI is notorious for being very tight-lipped about their investigations and not releasing autopsy reports. They eventually held her body until the early part of September 2021, a little over 2 years after she was found. I am unsure why they held Rosenda for so long. She was found in July 2019. There could have been a backlog on testing at the lab. Then the coronavirus pandemic hit hard in March 2020. Perhaps activity was halted at the lab for a while. Rosenda was eventually buried next to her mother on the Umatilla Indian Reservation in Oregon. With this chapter of Rosenda's life closed, her family is now on a mission for justice. This case is totally solvable if the right people come forward with information they know. But the mystery surrounding Rosenda's death does not end here. At the same time frame Rosenda went missing, her friend JEDIDIAH Moreno was found shot to death on the Yakama Indian Reservation in an area closed to non-tribal members. She was a 30-year-old non-tribal member from Yakima, Washington. JEDIDIAH was last seen by her family sometime in September when she went to her aunt's house to collect her belongings. She told her aunt that she was moving to Wapato, Washington, and that she found a job there. She never elaborated on what or where her new job was at, but jobs are kind of hard to come by on the reservation. It is possible illegal activity could have been the source of the new job. I did see one source that said JEDIDIAH was last seen September 30th, the same day that Rosenda left with a friend in the Nissan. But since I have only seen this date cited one time, I am not sure if it is accurate. Authorities will not say where or how many times JEDIDIAH was shot. They are not even entirely sure if she was shot where she was found or just dumped there. She was found on November 30th, 2018. An autopsy was scheduled the next day, and she was identified by dentals and tattoos. Authorities are still investigating the murder of JEDIDIAH and Rosenda. The similarities of these two murders and the fact that they were friends is alarming. They ran in the same circle, and the same person could have killed them both. It was rumored that Rosenda was shot, but this has never been publicly released. It seems like they could have been silenced for something they knew about someone. There have been other murders on the Yakama Reservation that were done to silent witnesses. This is episode 12. Please join me for episode 13. I will be going over other missing and murdered indigenous people of the Yakama Indian Reservation. There were just too many cases for me to include in this video. It will also help paint a clearer picture of what was going on around the time that Rosenda and JEDIDIAH were murdered. I should have episode 13 out a week or so after this one. I will post a link in the description box, or you can simply search for the episode on my channel page. People mature over time, loyalties change, people go to jail, and people die. If you know something, please say something. Staying silent will never break the cycle. By letting authorities know what you know, you could possibly save other lives. There are certain times when we need to call and talk to police, and this is one of them. We can't let the people responsible get away with this. They should not be allowed to move in our society and instill fear into people and kill as they please. By standing up and speaking out, hopefully these murders will stop. If you have any information about Rosenda or JEDIDIAH, please call the Yakama Tribal PD at 509-865-2933. You can also call the FBI field office at 509-990-0857 or submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov. Rosenda's case number is 18-010803. And that's it for today's video. I do hope that Rosenda is resting in peace and that she knows how hard that her family is fighting for justice. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.